Hello there, internets. WBPB6 here, and today I'm looking at the Mass Effect 3 Beings of Light theory. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, oh good lord in heaven, not this again. But before you click away, I ask you at least hear me out as I present this theory. I have to admit, myself, I do not enjoy this theory. But being an industry professional, I have an obligation to show you all the evidence that I can currently think of to explore the problems people have brought up with the game's original ending. As well, I'd like to take a moment to point out that this theory is put together over countless forums, threads, and videos across the internet, and I am only presenting to you what I've found collaborates in a coherent manner thanks to countless fan dedications. So let's start with the first thing many have seen wrong with the game's ending: the final charge. People say that when Shepard first charges the beam, when Harbinger is firing at all the desperate troops, that there is not a single tree or shrub, and some go as far to argue there weren't any bodies piled around that are present when Shepard's limp towards the beam. Well, I'm here to tell you simply that these accusations are false. If you look carefully, you will notice an unsettlingly large amount of that rubble in the background when Anderson and Shepard prepare to charge is actually piles upon piles of human bodies. Shrubs are very easy to find, however, as when you're running, they are there. In fact, in my Mass Effect tribute video, Charge of the Light Brigade, you can see them despite the low quality resolution. As for trees, the position they are in make them impossible to see during the actual charge, but through the use of console commands, PC players should be able to find them, as shown in the underrated video found in my description. Next, I want to address the dreaded hallway. Many argue that the hallway was the only way in, and that Anderson couldn't have possibly gotten to the control panel first. However, it's possible Anderson did make the final charge with Shepard, and if he did, he would have been behind Shepard. We saw that he was in pretty good condition prior, so if he went and found a way around as Harbinger decimated the assault forces, then it's safe to say he could have arrived as Shepard killed Marauder shields. Following him up, Anderson says they came out to different places and, being in better condition, could have traveled ahead of Shepard. Anderson mentions the walls seem to be moving, and when you go outside, you do see some panels moving, but if you look back, you'll see that the door you exit from is part of a merry-go-round of doors. If these doors all lead to nodes like the one Shepard came from, it's possible Anderson could have just come out onto the bridge, and the walls readjusted so that Shepard's door also linked to the bridge. That would mean the final moments against the Elusive Man and Anderson's slip into unconsciousness and possible death were real. The Elusive Man's strange behavior has a very on-the-surface explanation. He's indoctrinated. Finally, the Catalyst seems to make the most random appearance in the Mass Effect universe ever, and it very much does. Although BioWare alluded to this being of light since the first game, it really could be just that, a random occurrence. After all, no one had ever built the Crucible before. And, if they haven't, there would be virtually no evidence of the beings of light existence. BioWare could have known this would have been a problem, and so threw in Conclory. Just enough information to prepare us for the plot twist. What is the being of light, though? This possible analyzation of the Catalyst is a representative of the Reapers, their leader and commander. This being of light works on a lower, more scientific theory that I find personally a bit more appealing and almost as acceptable as the indoctrination theory. You see, one thing we've known from the start is Geth have a unique form of thought process. One Geth program is basically combat software that can upgrade to better use its hardware based on information from other Geth programs at one central terminal called a Geth hub. If the Reapers' original creators had conflicts similar to the Geth and Quarians, it is likely the Reapers would have built space stations like the Geth to avoid conflict. Once war was initiated and the Reapers killed their creators, the entire galaxy would have tried to destroy them, and ultimately failed to. It's equally plausible that the Reapers' creators were the first space-age civilization ever, and therefore they laid the groundwork out for every cycle thereafter. Think what had happened if John Connor was terminated successfully and absolutely. The Geth early on did not understand the horrible thing it was to kill, and it is possible the Reapers didn't either. If they in fact decided to harvest organics and preserve the organics in Reaper form, then they'd probably convert many of their space stations into mass relays, and their central Reaper hub would become the Citadel. Being synthetics, they don't know what they're doing is wrong because they can't feel love or pain. Therefore, their only grapple in reality is logic, like a true VI. This would explain the being of light, as the Reaper's united mind, describing the Reapers as a solution. They prevent the permanent destruction of all life from machine devils, in our cycle represented by the Geth, synthesizing us into Reapers to save us. When Shepard comes along, the being of light needs a new solution, and acts as a catalyst to activate the Crucible, a device of its own design to accelerate the evolution of synthetics and organics into one new perfect being. However, only if the organics have earned the right by putting aside bad writing aside, the end scene of the Mass Effect 3 relays exploding could be a misinterpreting of what really happened. Instead, they could have simply overloaded and sent out a large EMP rather than a supernova explosion. This failure would still allow the mass relay's destruction, but they wouldn't destroy everything, just damage electronics, which spaceships like the fleet are equipped and prepared for. In the control and destruction endings, however, yes, this means everyone is screwed. In the synthesis ending, not so much. Perfect beings made of synthetics and organics would easily and efficiently rebuild, and possibly would not even require food, uniting the galaxy indefinitely and in a fairy tale happy ending. One hard-earned, I might add, mind you. Joker, hearing about the disaster on the ground, could have easily slipped past Reaper defenses and located your team after Harbinger left. Remember, he's in the stealthiest ship in the fleet and is the best pilot in the fleet. Upon observing the Citadel and Crucible acting funny, he easily could have just chosen to run from the strange energy at EDI's recommendation. This EMP would have interfered with his systems and blown up his overheating engines, causing their crash landing. Being synthesized, everyone would definitely have a better chance at surviving the crash, and Joker especially, as he no longer would have his brittle bones. As for Shepard's radio, many have questioned how he could survive such damage, never mind his fragile radio system. However, taking notice from many of the cutscenes throughout all of the Mass Effect series, it's safe to assume that this radio could be some sort of neural implant, or possibly an earpiece somewhere within his own skull. Paying attention throughout the series, you will notice him reach over continually without his helmet to speak through his radio system. This would mean that if he survived, his radio possibly could have survived as well. Seeing the Citadel's arms open, Hackett would have indefinitely assumed Seeing the Citadel arms open, Hackett could have easily assumed that Shepard was the one to do it, as it was his mission, and Shepard has never let down before. One last topic is Shepard's breathing scene. If you've watched the video in my description, you know it's possible that Shepard is still on the Crucible/Citadel, and the only purpose of this scene is an Easter egg that Shepard survived this blast. As unappealing as this theory is, it covers all bases and doesn't overcomplicate things, but as a result is a little underwhelming. This theory is supported mainly by the recurring themes of the cycle of life repeating itself and organics never working well with their synthetics. While I still prefer the indoctrination theory and support it wholly, I wanted to bring this to the public's attention, because I believe that this is a perfectly acceptable ending as well, and possible and a possible one that we will see on Tuesday. This is WBPP6, and if you have any questions or comments regarding this video, please don't hesitate to comment in the section below, and I'll try to update everyone as soon as possible.